Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, November 10th, 2025. And I have to tell you right now, I'm experimenting with this live stream. I've been doing this on the StreamYard program that I use, and I've always done it in a wide format, meaning like for your regular laptop or your computer or laptop or whatever. But they gave me an option to do it in both the widescreen and the narrow screen, vertical, for somebody who wants to use like their phone. So I'm experimenting. Apparently it is there's two versions of this running out right now. One is the standard computer version and one is the vertical version for your phone. Now, I don't know if it's any better or worse because I can see they have two screens on here now. And so I have the wide screen and then I have the narrow screen, which shows up about that much of what's here. So I don't know if it matters. Let me know if you're watching it one way or the other and if it matters to you that I do this. Because I don't know. I'm trying to see whether it'll work whether it'll work or not. I noticed whenever I was playing my little song that I play, that it was not coming through on the widescreen. It was coming through on the other screen. And they're both right now on display in front of me, so I can turn one of them off, I think. So anyway, just wanted to tell you that's what's going on. It's a little bit different. And okay, so Robert is saying it's all vertical for me with no choice. So just let me know, if this is working, if you like it. If you don't, I can easily go back to the regular style of the widescreen. And I don't know that it really matters because for what I'm doing here on the widescreen versus the vertical or horizontal, there's really not much difference in my opinion because it's probably chops me up anyway if I'm on the phone or you're on the phone watching. So, okay. Again, I'm experimenting. Now, I have a few things to talk about tonight, and I also need to know, I'm assuming the sound is working okay. Let me know if that's good too. Okay. So it seems like the sound must be working because when I was doing the playback initially, it was on the countdown thing that I do, it was like slightly out of sync, and so I was getting a double feed on those two playing together. So I'll leave it like it is for now, and we'll figure it out later. Again, I don't know if it really matters for what I'm doing. Anyhow, as y'all know, I think y'all know, I went to SEMA this past week, and it's pretty amazing. It really is. I didn't get to see everything, and I was there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I flew in Wednesday morning, flew out Saturday right before lunch, but I stay with a friend of mine out there, and he's very familiar with all of this area, and so he rents a car and drives us around and everything else. And man, there's just so much to see and so much going on. A lot of it, of course, is your competition cars, let's say, building for the top 10 SEMA award thing, whatever. Then there's a huge section outside, which is all of the great big trucks that people build. They have like the 48-inch tires on them and the 6 feet of lift kit on it and drive shafts that aren't connected and, stuff that you would never use it for anything. You can't obviously use it as a real truck. It's just meant to be, I don't know, a billboard, I guess. Have all the fancy paint job on it and chrome and all these different things. And that seems to take up most of the outdoor area. And then there were other areas where it was really nice cars. I mean, there were some that were fantastic that probably should have been inside, but they were outside. And then there's another area where they do stuff like drifting stuff and burnouts. I didn't even make it over there. I mean, I could see the white smoke pouring out and hear the engines revving and all that. I didn't even make it over to that side. That's how big this thing is. And then, depending on where you're at, like you come in the main hall, and it'll have. It's interesting because what they do is they have super nice cars that a company will have on display to get you there. And then they will have their product line. So there might be, I don't know, there's probably over 1,000 different people that are trying to sell stuff, but they'll have a really, really cool vehicle sitting there. And so, you go to look at that, and then they try to get you interested in their other products. And it's not really like a pressure thing. They know you're there to see these cars and see the products, but they really want you to get to their sales area, whatever. So they have that section. They have one section that's all like just paint supplies and painting materials and paint booths and all kinds of whatever. And they may have connected with that tools, Traxxas, the little off-road RC vehicles. They have a huge display at this thing. Just air compressors, you name it. If it's an automotive related product, it's there. And they had a lot of people from China. I'll just say that. There was a lot of vendors there from China. Now, what they were selling was their version of various products. So like my 3M PPS cups that I use, 3M has gone through 2 generations of those, and they have improved them, as they've gone on. But there was a company there were several companies there selling variations of the PPS cups, and I must say they really made some big improvements on that product. But you have to know where to go to get them, and they wanted your email so they could email you to send you product or whatever. And basically I just kind of looked at what they were selling and moved on. Paint supply, just incredible amount of things to see and do at SEMA. Now, because I have media credentials, I could have gone early. Like I could have gone on Monday or Tuesday when people were coming in and setting up, and I probably could have made some really good videos of those things happening, but I couldn't get there till Wednesday. So I did do a bunch of walk-arounds. I did a lot of time-lapse with one of my cameras, the long pole camera that I use, and I also did some, interviews with some people, and I'll talk about that more in just a minute. So let's see who's here tonight and get caught up with the viewers. And if you're new to my channel, if you're new to my live streams, I do this on Monday nights at 7 o'clock. I try to talk about classic cars, meaning for me 1955 to about 1980, but I also cover other subjects as well. And we have a great group of people that are normally here. And if somebody has a question, I encourage you to ask. And, if it's about the classic car stuff, I'm more interested. But we do occasionally get stuff that's not. And that's okay too. So I try to answer your questions. If I can't, there's a chat box over on the side. And a lot of those people are here and they have great information as well. So first in tonight, hello all. I am early and ready, just need coffee. So that's Ed Cucciarella, and he's out in California, if I remember correctly. TJ, glad you made it back safe and sound from the SEMA show, from the Field of Dreams, Field of Mustang Dreams, East Dublin, Georgia. Hello, Barry, and everyone tonight on the live chat. Welcome, TJ. Dave Tyson, good evening, all. Good evening, Dave. Rick, I didn't see your former post, but it says my former post said Edmund Fitzpatrick. It was the Edmund Fitzgerald dictation messed it up. Oh, I didn't even see it. See, I don't know if you deleted it or not. But welcome, Rick. Vincent Fitante. Greetings from New Hampshire. Looking forward to hearing all about your adventures from SEMA, Barry. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And I know I can't cover it all. Travis, let's get some welding done. Amen to that. One of my top 5 patrons. Glad you're here, Travis. And good evening, all. Terry Keithley, good evening, everyone in Barry. Please hit the thumbs up and like button for Barry. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. Welcome to you as well, Terry and Betty. Steve's Money Pit. Good morning, Barry and friends from the Philippines. Awesome, Steve. Glad you're there. I know you're there with your wife, and that's a good thing. Jerry's Garage, the Money Pit. Good evening to all. Thumbs up. Yes. Thank you, Jerry. Steve Reed. Hello, Barry and everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. Been cold and spitting snow here in Paducah, Kentucky. Give Barry a thumbs up for the great work and content and great information. Well, thank you, Steve. And it is rather chilly today here in Georgia. Currently, it is 32 degrees. Yeah, 32. And it's supposed to get down to 26 by tomorrow morning. 26. Not fun. Not fun. And then it's going to warm up a little bit. A little bit. And then it'll be in the 70s. Low 70s by the weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. Richard Vogel. Good evening, Barry. Thank you for your service to our country. Oh, well, thank you, Richard. That's right. It is Veterans Day time period. So, yeah, thank you. Derek Pro, hi Barry, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Well, it's the 11th today and 11 degrees, and you started a live stream at 11 a.m. our time, and it's Remembrance Day at 11 a.m. A lot of 11s. Derek is checking in from Australia, by the way, and I have something to talk about from Australia, too. Nandu, good evening, Barry, and everyone. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, sir. Troy Justit, hi from coastal Georgia, where it's going to freeze tonight. This is not normal or right. Happy Veterans Day to my fellow vets. Yes, sir. Likewise. Robert, evening all. Evening, Robert. I don't know if, Robert, I'm getting a little symbol beside your name. That I don't know if it's a phone symbol. Or if it's just because you're on the wrench. It's kind of different. No, Chris S. has it too. Okay. So I don't know what that means when I see there's like a extra little symbol by your name. Well, not on your screen, but on my screen. David Wright says hello from snowy northern Indiana last night. Lake Michigan gave us a gift of 11 inches of snow. Good for you. Welcome, David. You can have all the snow. I don't need it. Robert, first time I have had a chance to watch in a while. Okay, good. Travis says, hey, all. David, the Bullheart guy. Hello, all. Good evening, Barry. Good evening, David. Welcome. Roger, greetings from next door. Hindsight 6-7. Greetings, Raj. Rusty's Restoration, help all, and Barry. Hope you had a great time at SEMA. Give a thumbs up. Yes. So, Robert is saying it's all vertical for me with no choice. Talking about the output that I have right now. So he must be watching on his phone, I guess. Julian, widescreen. Thank you, Julian. Welcome. Roger says, narrow is coming through on my phone, wide on the TV. Okay. And again, I don't know if it's worth it to do one or the other. I don't know. Betty Keithley, good evening, Barry. Have a great show. Praise for your mom. Thank you, Betty. Appreciate that. Trevor says, looks normal on my phone. Okay. Troy, I'm on my computer. It looks normal to me. Okay. Steve Reed seems the same both ways here. Yeah. And that's what I was thinking. It seems like it doesn't really matter if I have it on the phone function, the vertical thing, because it doesn't it doesn't really make a difference. I don't know. But I'll leave it go for now. Steve Reed says, sounds good. Chris S. says, all fine. Thank you. I don't know if I gave you a bell. Jeff, NorseNet sounds good on both phones. Phone is wide and computer is wide. Okay. Robert says, okay, I had to switch to the duplicate for the wide to show up. All right. Derek says, I'm sure you had an awesome time at SEMA. Sent you an email with some of my progress. Okay. Robert says it's doing 2 separate live streams and the chat is not the same on each. Interesting. Interesting. Have to figure that out. Clark Clifford, I have arrived. Welcome, Clark. We saved the neck for you. Rick's post was about the amended Fitzgerald sinking 50 years ago. Tonight, it's disappeared for some reason. Yeah, okay. Abe Godino. Hello, everyone. Hello, Abe. Gig'em Garage. Good evening, Barry. Kevin Barth here. Welcome, Kevin. David, supposed to hit the mid-20s here in Virginia. Yeah. Steve Reed, 34 here now and 23 in the morning. Yeah. It's too cold. Robert, I posted it on the vertical stream, so that's a note for it. Okay. Daryl Horvath, hey Barry, been a while, but back tonight. Hello from Toronto. Welcome, Daryl. Annette Scott, hello from Boston, everyone. Welcome, Annette. Steve's Money Pit, we survived the Signal 4 typhoon this weekend. Never a dull moment here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you are in the Philippines. That's scary. And there's a lot of stuff going on there. Steve's Money Pit, it's 8 a.m. here. Makes it easier to watch live instead of later. There you go. Annette, I'm watching on my phone. I'm waiting on the football games. It looks good. Thank you, Annette. Roger, on my phone. I'm missing many of the comments. No idea why. All right. Steve, you just explained why I can't turn phone sideways as usual. Huh. Well, I'm going to have to figure that out. I don't know if I can delete. I don't know what options I have to. I can't change it now, so we're just going to run with it. We're going to watch it or keep it the way it is. Now, Robert is saying you only see the comments on the version you are watching. Okay, yeah. So right now, for me, because I have both screens in front of me, the comments for the regular live stream are down here at the bottom. And on the vertical one, on the phone, they're up there. So maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know. Annette, thank you for your service. Thank you. I appreciate that, Annette. Abe Godino, thank you for taking time to respond to my question regarding 65 rear tail sheet metal. You're welcome, Abe. I try to help when I can. I really do. Simone is checking in. Hello, everyone. Hello, Simone. She's over in the UK. Oh, Simone, I have to bring this up. I was flying back from Vegas, and it's like a 4-hour flight, so you can watch maybe a couple movies. And I watched a movie. It was kind of like a documentary, I guess, but it was Ford versus Holden, and that was eye-opening because I know that like your Cortina is a different type of vehicle, and of course Ford versus Holden will be in Australia. But thinking about the variations of the cars across the country, across the world, and how they have similarities in certain countries and different things, but I know that obviously the UK has their own variations of those. But I was thinking about that because here they had these Falcons and these different types of odd what were to me like odd Fords, and I was thinking, I wonder if those are anywhere similar to what the Cortina is or variations of that. So it was really an interesting movie / documentary to watch, but I didn't have quite quite the understanding. And same way with um, uh, Derek. He would know what I'm talking about, and the whole Ford versus Holden thing. But I was like thinking about those cars and thinking, like I said, the European ones were different, and these variations across the globe. So anyway, I think I think let me check my email real quick, because Derek had said he had sent me some. I think he sent me some pictures. Now, of course, the difficulty along with this is having this as a widescreen and a vertical screen is probably not going to help much. And I say that because the I have media assets that I can click on and put up on the screen. Like last week I put up this picture. And see, it puts it up as wide on the regular widescreen, and it makes it small on the vertical. So it may not be of any benefit for me to keep that vertical thing next time I do this. So let me see. Derek has sent me a picture. Oh, actually, sent me two pictures. Yeah, but see, now it says my my files are overloaded. Let's see if I can get rid of one of these and try to download one of his. It just makes it more difficult, honestly. Okay, so Derek has sent me this picture. This is some progress on his Mustang down in Australia. So that looks really good. And I know that was a pretty decent car you started with, but that looks really good. So, cool. Okay. Let me get back up here. Daryl Horvath. Speaking about flying, I'm doing my last flight to Frankfurt tomorrow night, returning on Thursday, and hanging them up after 37 years. More time for cars now. That's cool. That is very cool, Daryl. Enjoy your retirement. That is awesome. Derek, most of our Holden Commodores, which are Pontiacs over there, are in we're at the big show in Kentucky. Oh, okay. The Holden Commodores, which are Pontiacs. Okay. Simone in Australia, they had a Mark III Cortina XLE with much bigger and more powerful engines, an Aussie muscle car, if you like. Okay. Well, see, I know they were talking about these very different brands and things, and I don't know if they said Cortina in the movie, but it popped into my head. So, Dave Tyson, nice. Yep. And Robert Simone says, Robert, hope you're doing well. Yep. Whoops. Troy says, looks good, Derek. Love to see Mustangs from around the world. Yeah. And Robert's talking to Simone there. Doing okay, lots of stuff to take care of, and take care of Mom's till her next surgery. Yep. Derek Perry, thank you, Barry. Yes, getting there. Don't have to tell you about bodywork. Yeah. Richard says, great to see Robert back in the chat. I agree, Richard. I agree. Okay. I'm going to talk to you about some things. So as we were walking around the SEMA show, and we're trying to take in anything and everything, and it's even like I went the first time and I was overwhelmed, I was still somewhat sort of overwhelmed this time, because you just can't imagine how much is there. You just can't, it's just so hard to say what all is there. Now, I went looking around to try to find stuff of interest, and I managed to run into one of my patrons was there. There was actually a guy from locally who I know, and I bumped into him by accident. and I was surprised to see him there. Um, and then as I'm talking, I talked to the owner of the Badass Broncos, that business in Texas, Woody, and turns out he's former military, so we actually connected pretty well and had a great conversation. Um, so I was talking to Woody and his main builder that he had with him, who was also ex-military, and a young man came walking up to me. His name was Braden, and he said, "Hey, can I take your picture? Get a picture with you?" And I'm like, "Sure." And he said that he and his dad have been watching my videos for a long time to put together his Mustang. And so I thought that was fantastic. This young guy wanted to get a picture, and I said, "Sure." And I took a picture with him, and I did post it on Facebook. I took a picture with Paul. I actually met Richard. I don't know if he's been on here before. Richard Gutierrez, who follows me on Facebook and YouTube. We actually just happened to bump into each other at a pizza shop. It wasn't even at SEMA. It was at a pizza place. And I from what he had said, and it's hard to remember all this, that we tried to meet each other 6 years ago when we were both at SEMA, but it didn't work out. And I knew he was there, and here we just happened to go into this really good pizza place. Pizza Rock is what it is. Man, good stuff. Now, got to meet Richard, and then I'm walking around, and I'm filming whatever I can. And this really kind of took me for a second, because there was a company there. I mean, you think of the products, they are there. And I hear this voice. It says, "Hey, I watch your channel." And it was an Australian accent, okay? And I was like, "What?" And they said, "Yeah, I watch your channel." And this young man starts talking to me. Turns out his name is George. And they have a company, and I'm going to show you this. And this is their sticker. Nothing I created. I'm just going to show you this. It's advertising, okay? It's a headlight company, and it's called Bangin' Headlights. Now, he goes on to tell me that he's building a Mustang down in Australia, and he watches my videos, and I'm like, fantastic. So as I'm talking to him, I'm saying, well, let's talk a little bit about your product. And so they sell LED headlights that will fit into these, our classic cars. So they have the 5 and whatever inch and the 7-inch headlights, and have the LED light on the inside, variations of all this stuff. So I did let him do a presentation to me, and we talked about his product line, and it was really cool. It was. He was excited to talk to me, and I was happy to talk to them. And so we did that, and then I was walking around, and I wanted to find the Kingpin Mustang, and that was the one that the Ring brothers built. And I did post a short video on that on YouTube. I have some stuff on Facebook as well. And if you know the Ring brothers, you already know what they do with these cars. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, they have a vision. Like I like original. I mean, I do. But when these guys do these cars, they take original and they tweak it to something that's even better. And I mean that in a good way, because we get stuck on that train that it needs to be original, right? And I'm pretty much on that path. And if somebody does something really off the wall, I'm not necessarily a fan of that. If they just some of the crazy stuff, like Kindig took a 69 Camaro, and basically, to me, just turned it into a Dodge Charger. I don't know if you've seen that thing or not. To me, it's hideous. It is nothing. It barely resembles a Camaro. And for Kindig to do that, just, I'm like, what do they do? Why? It really does. It looks like a Dodge Charger, like an old Dodge Charger. So anyway, I'm looking at this, looking for this Mustang, and I find it. And sure enough, it's fantastic. I mean, it is black, has black, flat black stripes on it. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I knew they typically take the front fender, and they'll cut off the front fender, and they'll extend the rocker panel all the way to the edge of the wheel cutout. And I like that. I mean, it's different. It's not offensive. It is actually kind of cool looking. Because then it creates a rocker panel that runs from the rear wheel opening to the front wheel opening. And it just looks right. Well, then they also pushed the front fenders out like just over an inch, and you almost don't even notice it until you look down the side of the car, and you just see a subtle curve, and it's so perfect. Well, then as it turns out, I have pictures of it, but it's too hard to probably post these pictures up. They took the rear quarter panels and they pushed them out 2 inches. And again, it looks right. It looks like it belongs there. But the transition comes forward and comes back into the door. It flows just like it normally would. So I mean, it really did look fantastic. The other thing they did was they took the front wheel and they moved it forward. If you look at this card, it would have been this way, right? I think it was 1.5 inches. And they did that in order to bring the engine down to sit inside of that pocket. And you don't even notice it. Like that movement of the wheel, they redid the wheel opening, and you cannot tell. I mean, it just looks just incredible. And I did a walk around video of that on one day, and I also walked around a red Mustang that was sitting in front of it, like a '68 fastback. Well, I was focused on the Kingpin, and I decided, you know what, I need to shoot some video of it. So I got up my GoPro, my handy dandy GoPro, and I started filming. And I was pointing out to my buddy the things that I saw that I knew were modified. I get around the vehicle, and it was really interesting because I'm looking inside the vehicle, and I hear this guy over, and I knew the Ring brothers were there, or at least one of them was there, but there were other people in that area, and there was a guy just sitting there that I thought maybe he was one of their staff or something, right? I don't know. So I get up close to the car and I'm filming and I'm talking there. I could see there's a roll bar, like, I put the roll bar in the Fangled car, and there's a crossbar that goes behind the seats. Well, I could see the crossbar, but I could not see the roll bar. And I thought, well, what is that attached to? And I'm looking at it, and the guy says, "You want me to open the door?" I'm like, "Oh, sure," So the guy walks up, opens the door, and he says, "Look, there's the roll bar." And I looked up, and you could see just a hint of the roll bar. And it was a full cage. It was not like a rear hoop. It was a full cage tucked up tight into that car, and they had put padding around it. You just really didn't notice it. The whole thing was just covered up. And I'm looking at the gauges, and I'm looking at this, and looking at that. And as I'm talking to the guy, he says, he said, that's when he tells me about the front end, and he's telling me about some other things. And then I didn't ask him any questions. I was just kind of, vocalizing what I saw and what I was doing. And the guy says, I haven't even been able to drive it yet. And I was like, "This is your car?" He said, "Yeah, this is mine." And I'm like, "Oh my, okay." So I said, I'm talking with him, and he's going. We're talking about the build and what they had done and all these different things. And I thought it was really cool to see the owner of this car there and just talking about it. But he said he hadn't been able to even start it up yet or go for a ride. And I knew the keys were in the dash, and I knew it was a push button start. And I said, "Let's go for it. Fire it up." And he's like, "No, I can't." I'm like, "It's your car, man. You can." He was like, "No, they won't let me." So I got to meet him, shake his hand and talk to him a little more, and that was just really cool. I was like, I did not expect that. Now they also had, I don't know if you follow the Ring Brothers, if you've seen, they have the one guy. I guess he's the main builder, and I'm not. I don't know. I hate to use the wrong words or say the wrong things, but he was pretty dolled up. Let's say, like, he had a lot of jewelry on, had his hair slicked back, and had his shirt unbuttoned down the middle of his chest, and it was kind of like, I don't know, acting like he was really, 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 really important, and there was doing some interviews with him, and I didn't even. In fact, if you watch my little video I did, he's in the background walking past, and he's like clapping his hands together like he's getting himself pumped up for this interview he's going to do or something. So anyway, it was really, really cool to see that. And I'm going to go back to the comments here for a second. Annette says that Camaro has gotten awful reviews. I'm telling you, it was the worst looking thing Kindig has ever made. I don't know why they even brought it. It looked like a cartoon gone bad. That I hope that car doesn't win any awards, because it is just that bad. They took styling cues of the Camaro, and they like made them bulky and big, like the little eyebrow on the fender, the nice little accent eyebrow. It's like a great big thing now on the side. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. If you look at the pictures of it, you'll see it's just really bad. And that says, "It's my first time seeing a Kindig car that got bad reviews." Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were some people there who were like, ooh, ah. And I'm like, no, that was bad. Tim Miller, hi everyone. Late, not popping updates. Oh, okay. Glad you're here, Tim. Derek, some people are pure artists with a vision. A lot of car builders on TV are the same. So many talented people out there. Yeah, there are, and it's, some of the stuff is just amazing. I mean, I have pictures of a 30-something Plymouth that was turned into like a road beast, had massive tires on it, carbon fiber fenders, but it still looked amazing. It just, then you have some stuff that's just not good at all. Bob Shoemaker, good evening all. SEMA looked fun. Yes, it was. It was. Now, part 2 of the Mustang story of the Kingpin, as I was looking around it, me and my buddy Terry, we went back the next day, and we were filming whatever, all kinds of stuff. I was trying to get more footage of Mustangs and different things. And I have to say this, and I posted about this on Patreon. I have to say this. I was walking around and I saw a 69 Dodge Charger. It was blue and it had a black, like flat black rocker panels. And it was a really, really nice car. I mean, it was straight, fantastic. It had it up on a lift so you could walk under it and see things and whatever. And I walked up to it and I had to stop. And I know I beat myself up over paint. That's why I hate to paint. Because if any little thing gets there, it bugs me. It really does. Walked up on this Charger, and right there on the rocker panel in the flat black is a run. And it was an obvious, you can't do anything about it, other than repaint it. and there's a run, like a V-shaped run on that rocker panel. And then I look over and I see the quarter panel where the door and the quarter panel are, and it meets the rocker, and there's like chunky. It's all chunky looking. And then there was a spot where the paint was peeling off, like separating, like a little slight bubble underneath it. And I was just like, here I am, beat myself to death over trying to make a perfect car, and they're not there. Now, granted, there are some that are perfect. I mean, I'll say that as far as paint work, but they also spend probably $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 just on the paint job, and I'm not kidding. If you look at the Bronco that I posted, the badass Bronco, I was talking to them about it, and it's a brand new body. First of all, they painted it black, and black is tough. Black is so tough. And I asked him how they did it, and he said they did, this primer. They did, I don't know if they did like a, I don't know if they used I thought he said they used the polyester, like high build, like feather fill, right? Block sanded all this thing out, hours and hours. Sprayed it, and they sprayed it, black. And he said they sprayed it. They put 4 coats of clear on this thing, baked it, and then baked it again for like, I don't know if he said like 2 or 3 weeks. They kept going over this, like cycling it to get it all baked out. They did a wet sand. They sanded it all out, got it all smooth. Then they put 4 more coats of clear on that thing. Did the same thing over again. Baked it, got it, did all these things over and over and over and over. Again, cut, buff to get it looking like a mirror. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I know I'm in a home built garage paint booth, right? They're using $1 million paint booth in a production facility. And granted, they should have a fantastic looking vehicle. And then some of these other ones you look at, I found several that were there for the show that I could look at it and see the paint wasn't right. And I'm thinking, well, this is a show car, and it's still not right, right? So, like I saw a big no-no. As I talked about this before, whenever you're painting something, especially on the Mustangs, we have the extensions sticking out of the quarter or attached to the quarter or the headlight extensions. I always bolt them to the car when I spray them, so I get the pattern right, get the color right. Well, there was a Wimbledon white 65 Mustang there that was painted, but they had to take those extensions and either painted them completely off the car, like laying a different direction, or they repainted them or something, because I could see there was 2 different colors. Now, granted, that's a difficulty, because you're like, how do you make it match? Or what happens if you have a problem and you try to, replicate that? And even the pros have problems with that. So it was really interesting to see all this stuff going on, and to try to make it easier on me, because I beat myself up so bad. If I have even the tiniest paint flaw, I just want to start over, But the reality is, they're all bad. I mean, in some way, shape, or form, they've got a problem. So, anyway, I'm going to go back up here. Okay, Troy. I looked at the pictures of the Kindig Camaro, and I agree with you. It was not my favorite. No, it's bad. It's like they tried to turn it into a Dodge Charger. It made no sense at all. You don't extend that quarter panel, and you don't. It look like it raised up slightly. Why would you do that? The Camaro tapers. You don't. No. Tim Miller, not all custom mods work well. No, they don't. And I don't know if I pecked it. I don't know. Rick Stevenson. Sorry, Rick. I think I might have passed over you, but I still have coffee. Sorry, I missed you there. And Derek Pro says you would need at least a few days at SEMA to see most of it. Yeah, that is true. Steve Reed, I was watching a video on YouTube. They took 3 Mustang coupes together and made Mustang stretch limo. Yeah, no, not a good thing. Michael Pagliarini, evening all. Evening, Michael. Glad you're here. David just took a second look at the Kingpin video you posted. What an amazing, beautiful car. It is, and like I said, I have footage. I'm going to have to edit it's going to take me probably this week at some point. I'm going to have to edit down. I have footage of, from my GoPro, and I have footage from my Insta360 camera, which is some time lapse. Some of it's not. I didn't even break out my regular camera. But I can't say enough about those cars and what they do at Ring Brothers. Simone, I just looked for that Camaro. Looks rather odd. Yeah, it is. Steve Reed says all 3 was a 65 Mustang. Talking about that limo. Derek, I know exactly what you mean about being hard on yourself. I've been spending many hours trying to get my project straight. Then I see professional jobs that have cost big bucks that make you cringe. And that's exactly right. I'm like, my goodness, I was shocked. And it wasn't just one car. It wasn't just one odd vehicle. Apparently, who's the Fast Monkey guy, whatever his name is, he had a car built called Sinister, I think. It was like an Oldsmobile Buick. I don't know what it was. Some sort of black vehicle. And we were looking at that. And they had it up on a lift. And they also had a set of stairs you could go up and look at it from up above. And it was jet black. And as soon as I walked up to the side of the car, I found like 3 or 4 problems with the paint on the side of the car. I'm like, how? How does this happen? And then the underside of a chassis had like a roadster shop frame chassis under it. And everything was really cool. Tucked away, nice fittings and all kinds of really neat stuff. And then you get to the front of it, and here they have hoses held up with zip ties. I'm like, you really use zip ties on your transmission lines on this type of car? That car should have aluminum curved, like double wall curved brackets that hold your transmission lines and be attached to the front frame or whatever. There should not be a zip tie anywhere on that car, the way I look at it. It doesn't make sense. You took a shortcut at the last minute. Rick, the way you're describing things, Jade, was worthy of being shown at SEMA. Well, I wouldn't know if I could go quite that far. The paint was well within SEMA quality, yes. But the rest of it, like I don't detail under the hood very well. I don't do all that stuff. But yeah, the paint on it probably was good enough to get shown at SEMA. Yeah, I would agree. Derek, we had a job come back from a panel shop, cost a client $30,000. Looks like Ripley's, believe it or not. I I get it. I'm just like, I just beat myself up. You get this vision, and you think this is what you're seeing, and then when you do see it, it's like, oh, wait a minute. It's like, what? Now, not this is the same, but I remember a statement somebody said, never meet your heroes, right? And I think what it means is when you meet them, you might be disappointed in who you think they are, or who you perceive them as. And that's kind of how I look at some of these cars. Robert, that's why I tell you not to worry so much about the small stuff you see as an issue. Your work is far better than many very expensive paint jobs I've seen by high-end shops. Well, thank you, Robert. Vincent, I loved how they built the taillights on Kingpin. Yeah, that's their own custom tail panel. I think they make that. They've used it in other vehicles, I think. What was really cool, I say really cool, and it was really cool. The air vents on the side of the quarter panels, you have to look close. They are not the same as the original ones. The vent itself, if you look at a 69, it sits on top of the quarter panel, and it's pretty flat. I mean, it is. And I would actually like to redesign those to where they were recessed myself. I think they would look much better if they were flush in the quarter. But they didn't do that. They 3D printed a new air scoop. And that air scoop had a little ridge on it that went around the normal perimeter on the quarter, but at the front edge sank in like it was supposed to. But that's an air vent. And now I don't know if they do anything extra, but the implication was the air goes in that air vent and it comes out at the taillights. Now, what do you gain from that? I don't know. My thought was, if you did it a certain way, you could create a vacuum system to where the air going in there, if you had a T above your rear brakes, maybe it'll help pull air out, kind of create an airflow around the brakes or something. Because, in the Shelbys, what they did is they created a vent that blew on the rear brakes to help keep it cool, somewhat. But from what they were saying, this vent went straight through the quarter and came out by the taillights, or around the taillights. So it was really different. Annette, I saw a Mustang coupe pickup truck once. It looked odd to me. Yes. There was a company that made those. They were actually 60, usually 65, I think is what they used. Mustero, I think is what they called it. I think it was Mustero. I think it was a company in California. They produced X number of those, and then they went out of business. But they did take a Mustang and turn it into a pickup truck. Yep, called a Mustero. Dave Tyson says ran out of time. No, they didn't run out of time because they tried to hide them. I say that. Then maybe they did, but they tried to hide them to make them look like they weren't zip ties. Cut the tails off and push the head up, and I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think that's where they just intended to leave it that way. Tim Miller painting Mach 1. What way is most air in shops is one way. Put back away what you're thinking. Okay. Clark Clifford, Mysteries Beverly Hills Ford, I think. Oh, the Musteros. Yeah. That's probably who it was, but it was Mustero was what they called them. And I've seen, of course they had that, and then there were some where they were trying to make a station wagon variation. And those didn't succeed either. David says only 50 Musteros were ever made. Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was 50, but I couldn't remember for sure. Thank you for that, David. So let me get another sip of coffee, and I'm going to talk to you about the red Mustang. And this hurt in a way. So the next day I'd gone back to look at the Kingpin again, and I paid more attention to the 68 fastback that was sitting across from it. And I know that it wasn't done. I knew that. But it was okay. It was there to get people to stop and look for this company. And the company makes stainless steel fuel lines. I think I tagged them in the video. It's Fine Lines. Fine Lines is the name of the company. And they're from Ohio, I think. Now, what was really interesting was I'm filming this car and I'm walking around it, just trying to get, some extra camera footage. And the young guy there stopped me and he says, "Hey, I want you to know I've been watching your videos for like 2 months straight." And I said, "Oh, okay." And you'll see this. I have it on video that we're talking. And he says, "Yeah, we were trying to get this car done, and we were watching your videos to figure out how things went together." He said, "I've never worked on one of these, didn't know where anything went." And he said, "Your videos saved us." And I was like, "Awesome. That's so cool." So they want to tell the story that the owner of the company, or the founder of the company, when he started this business back in the 80s or 90s or something, had a 68 fastback that was a 390 4-speed car, and he sold it to start his business. And so all these years later, these guys were actually buying his company. They had worked for him, and they were going together to buy the company from him. And they decided they were going to recreate his Mustang. And so they were, they thought they were doing good research. They thought they were looking in the right places. They bought a 68 fastback from somewhere. I forget where if it was in New York. I don't remember exactly where. So it was a titled 68 fastback. And they get the car back to their place, and it was the right color, but I don't know if they were going to repaint it. I think they might have were going to repaint it or something. Maybe it wasn't the right color, but they had a guy who was going to go through it and paint it and everything. So he started going through it, and they said, the guy calls him up and says, "I thought you said this was a fastback." And the guys were like, "Well, that's what they told us. That's what the paperwork says." Well, the guy had stripped it all down, and he found out it was a 67 coupe. So they had the paperwork from a 68 fastback, and they had created a fastback from a 67 coupe. It still had the VIN numbers up on the aprons. These guys didn't even know where to look. They just saw the VIN number on the dash and the title that said 68 fastback. So they started digging a little harder, and they thought, well, that's okay. We'll leave it the way it is because we have the paperwork. The guy started digging and found out this car was nothing but rusted junk. It was Bondo. It was screwed together. It was a piece of junk. And so the guy said, "Look, why don't you get me a dynacorn body?" And he says, "We'll just recreate it from that." So that's what they did. The first car they bought it for $44,000, thinking that it was an original 68 coupe. So they said, "Okay, we'll get the dynacorn." And I've told you all this before, and I'm telling you again. They got a dynacorn body, a 68 fastback, brought it to this guy, and nothing fit. Nothing fit. He tried to put the back glass in, and the deck filler panel was in the wrong spot. The glass wouldn't fit the car. The quarter panels were pulled in and welded in where you thought they were supposed to be. The rear valance stuck out 3 inches total. That's how bad the quarters were rolled in. They had to take the quarters off. They had to take the rear deck. They had to undo the car. And I've said it before. They try to get you to buy these cars, and then you just deal with it. And that's what they were doing. They ended up having over $100,000 in basically a stock fastback 390 4-speed car. And they're not done yet. There's still stuff they have to do. But as I'm talking to them, they're like, "What are these holes on the cowl for? What does this do? What does this do?" And I was happy to tell them. I said, "Well, this is where the windshield washers go, and they go like this, and 2 screws, and blah blah blah, and this is where the hood scratcher goes, the static piece." And they're like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, this hole right here, that's for the little static copper strip that scratches the hood to eliminate static. Um, and it's just like, I felt bad for them because they didn't know. They thought they would just take a quick shortcut and buy his pre-built, body, and nope, they got caught up in it. So they're going to get it done, and they're going to give it to the former owner of the business. He apparently doesn't know they're doing this, so he's going to get a car. They still have to put the trim on the rain gutters. They still got to put the window seals in. There's a bunch of stuff that has to happen to it, but they were pretty excited to talk to me as well, and I posted some pictures of me with them on Facebook. So it was fun. It was interesting. Rick says the Mustang pickup was named like that because of the Ranchero. Yep, exactly right. Richard, was Graveyard Cars there? I don't know. If they were, I didn't see them. I guess there was so much there. Apparently there was some all-electric 69 Mustangs there. I didn't know where to look for them. I wanted to go see them, but I couldn't find them. There's so much. It's just so hard to see everything at that place. I wish they do have a map, like it'll break it down. If you have a station number or whatever, vendor number, it'll tell you where that vendor is. But if you don't know what his number is, you can look them up by name. But if you don't know if they have something there, I wish they had something that said, here's where all the Mustangs are. Here's where all the Camaros are. Here's where all the X, Y, Z cars are. That would be pretty neat to have that. Tim Miller spraying the rear end of car away from fan and front, close to air out. What way are you spraying? Oh. I mean, that's basically how mine is set up. I have the air inlet is at the front of the car, but I also have two air vents on the sidewall that draw air across the car. Derek says, test fit, test fit, test fit. Remember what Barry taught us. Yes, exactly. Clark, they should have bought a Revology. We looked at a Revology car. Any guess what those cost? I know why they didn't. A Revology car starts at $250,000. But that's also not built to what they wanted. They wanted a 390 4-speed car. They didn't want the modern engine. They didn't want the modern transmission, all that other stuff. But yeah, a Revology car starts at $250,000. Hugh says, hey, Barry. Yes, I'm late again. Welcome, Hugh. Glad you're here. Rick, okay. Never knew there was something called the hood scratch or that even existed. Is that on a 65 or 66 or later cars only? I don't know if it's on the early cars or not. I know for a fact it's on the 68. And goes right here. There's a hole in the cowl. And I show it on Jade. When I'm putting the hood on, one of the videos, it's a little piece of, I say copper, it might be a brass. It's copper brass, whatever. And it's got a curve to it, and it has little teeth on it, and it actually scratches the hood. And it's meant to be a static reliever. I don't know that it's on the 5 or 6 cars. I think it came later because they were having trouble, and they started making improvements later on. Hugh says, I've seen a Mustang limo too. Don't know if it was AI. It's so hard to tell real from fake anymore. AI is taking over everything. You're right about that. That's what I should start doing. Just do AI videos, and I don't even have to be in it. I just talk about what I want done, let the AI create it. Hey, right? No. Derek says, you need to do all the checks. We say all the time would save so much time and money. We say this all the time. Yes. And I don't know. Here's something else I'm going to point out. And this is something I make mistakes on occasion. And I won't say it's a mistake. It's something I should have addressed sooner. Didn't hurt anything. It's all good. It's all good. I put the door locks in the Cobra Jet today. Now these are dynacorn doors, and I have new locks, and I didn't even think to check this before I painted, because hey, it's a door lock. It's a square. It's a hole they punch in. It should be exactly the same. Well, I went to fit the door lock in, and it wouldn't go in. Now, part of that was paint buildup. I will say that. There was paint buildup in the opening. So I did take a little jeweler's file and clean that up. But eventually I had to actually work that jeweler's file to remove metal. And I didn't think I should have to do that. So just note, if you're putting in a new door, take a minute and check the door locks. Make sure there's a decent gap all the way around, because you will have paint there, right? And that'll take up some of it if you don't sand it down. What I ended up doing was using a jeweler's file, opening that up to where the lock fit just perfect, and then I went back and used self-etching primer and recoated that, and that's all I really need to do, because it's got a rubber gasket. It's sealed nice and tight. But just something to reference. Always check these things. Rick, I would leave a gasoline forever t-shirt on the front seat of an electric 69 Mustang. Yeah, there you go. Clark, 250K is not far from where they'll end up. No, I think they're going to come in. Obviously, they made mistakes in buying a car that was already, the wrong car and everything. I think they said they'll be either they will be, or they're roughly at 100,000 in it. And obviously they could have saved themselves a lot of time in having a car built rather than buying one that was already somebody else had modified and sold them as a fake car. But yeah, I don't think they'll be anywhere near that number. David, I've looked into Revology cars. Very nice, but very pricey. I agree. They are very, very pricey. Yes. Dave Tyson, not on my 66. Yeah. I think, like I said, they started having those static problems. And I know in 68 they had them. And I believe 69 had them. I don't know what the technical term is, static something. But they sell them. You can buy them. Rick, there was a white Mustang limousine, red pony interior in New Jersey back in the 90s. I believe it lives in Florida now. Yeah, I don't think anybody should ever make a Mustang limousine. No, that's just a big no from me. Robert, I don't think the 65, 66 had them, but they're on every car ever made after that, or a ground wire or other similar thing to make contact. Yes. Yeah, that was just what their attempt was, to just create this little scratcher thing. They could have easily just took a piece of wire and made it go to the cowl from the hood. Robert says, also check the door handle holes. They were very off on one of my new door skins. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Dawn's Manufactory. Hello from Kona, Hawaii. Well, welcome, Dawn. I'm glad you're in Hawaii. That's pretty cool. Hope you're having a good time. Robert says RFI interference. Yeah, radio frequency. Yep. Tim Miller, thanks for fitting locks. I will test them myself. Yes, do that. TD Mustang, the ultimate hang loose Hawaiian car. I'd go with that. I like that. Yep. But anyway, the whole thing at SEMA, I want to go back again, but I'd like to go earlier in the week rather than later. I think Friday they open it up to the public. I say open to the public. They have to buy tickets or whatever to get in there. But Monday and Tuesday is setup days. Wednesday is the first kind of walk around. And there's many people there. There's a lot of people in that place. But I think I know when I went before, I went earlier, and I was able to see a lot more in the fact that there wasn't any crowds around yet. So, Michael says Revology is now building pickup trucks. Oh, well, they must be popular. I mean, they must be doing well. So, I think we're getting to a closing point. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to probably end up calling it a night. I'm telling you, if you get a chance, you need to go to SEMA and just check it out. There's so many cool cars, so many things to see. Of course, it's in Vegas. Not that I really care for Vegas. The only thing good that we enjoyed was the pizza, and the breakfast buffet was fantastic that we went to. But that's put it on your bucket list of things to do if you get a chance. So anyway, that'll be it for tonight. I do plan to be back next Monday at 7 o'clock. I hope you're here. Hope you have a good week. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.